And it's going to be great and fantastic because as a way of conclusion, we will look into the future to see what we can and we should do about what has been discussed in the last 2 days. We have to take into account awareness raising, opportunities in terms of cybersecurity, and the steps to follow so that cybersecurity is a more inclusive world. So the panel will be chaired by the General Secretary of the Digital Agenda. Thank you very much for being here and for chairing this round table. She will introduce the other participants of the panel. In some minutes, the last participant will join us, so we can start. Thank you very much for being here. Thank you to everybody. As it has been said, I'm going to chair this panel with such great experts. We're going to talk about the actions, awareness-raising actions in terms of cybersecurity and digital topic, and also cybersecurity for women and looking into the future. As for this last topic, I'd like to give you some information, and that is that only 12% is represented by females. But if this problem becomes even more severe, because somehow a survey organized by Center for Safety and Education, so the percentage was the same some years ago, so it has not varied. So to talk about these topics, we will have the following speakers. I'm going to give the floor now. First, I'm going to inform you about the curriculum vitae about the speakers. I will start with Eduvigis. She is the Director for Alliances and Innovation in Eurydices. She defines and articulates the strategy on cybersecurity. She has developed her professional career in business and digital technology. She has focused on the development of new technologies for customers, focusing on new technologies, ICTs. She is industrial engineer by the Dominican Republican University, and she has also done a master in engineering. She also did at ESF General Program. As part of her commitment to develop the female leadership, she is member of the Professional Women Network and Vice President of the projects, different projects, international level and national level. Thank you very much so that you can now share with us all the actions you're implementing. Thank you so much. I'd like firstly to thank you very much INCIBE and all the organizing committee for having launched this initiative to tackle such important topics addressed in the last 2 days, which are very revealing and can, set up the following steps into the future as a society, as men, as female, or women, as educators, and also as change players. I am here as a member of the board of an association, which is an association focused on supporting the professional development of women. So we are a global network with 27 countries members. So as I say, we have 27 networks in 27 cities worldwide. In Spain, we have in Barcelona, in Bilbao, and in Madrid. In Madrid, it is the largest. We are altogether 250 female members or partners, and then we have many collaborators. We collaborate with companies The difference or the important thing about our association is that we have some companies among us who want to work in the line of equality, that is to do something so that their women have more access to mentoring programs and to other programs that we have designed. Our STAR program that has been very successful, it is the group mentoring program. It is an annual program. Here we have some of the mentors with us today attending this seminar. And the focus is to empower the woman so that she has or acquires other skills and competencies to move forward in her professional career. So this year we have altogether 24 programs with 31 mentors. All these mentors are volunteer. That is, they work on volunteer basis. It is all the result of their own generosity. We also have men. Since last year, we also have some partners because we think it is important that everybody collaborates so that the society is a more fair place for everybody. And this mentoring program is very interesting indeed because it aims at promoting skills or competencies we want to develop or we do not have or we want to acquire. For example, how to design an entrepreneurship project or how to work on digital competencies we need to face the new digital age. It is a program that helps us a lot to have a vision in terms of the needs of women under the umbrella of these companies. And we also have a percentage, 25% of business presence. So this mentoring program is one of the pillars of the association. Another program we have launched, which takes place once a month every year, which is called e-learning series workshop. That is, it includes conferences, talks with senior experts who give added value. We have had talks by even neurosurgeons, people who have a lot of experience on a topic and they want to share it with other women. We hold those conferences once a month. They last 2 hours. Last week, for example, we had a conference with a female partner who explained about the transformation in the 21st century and how to work with women so that they get ready to face the new digital age. We have the mentoring program, these workshops, then we organize specific events for our corporate partners. For example, some companies want to work in what we call non-tangible biases. There's some biases that we do not realize, but they are there, and businesses know they are there, they want to identify them. So we work for that with human resource directors, for example, so that they have more inclusive programs to work with all the businesses. We have many programs as well that are very interested in the line of empowering women so that they take the lead of their lives and their professional careers. So that is what we do. Thank you very much for telling us about this Professional Women Network, because I think it may be a benchmark to continue working in this line of action, to follow up the workshops, so that women are more empowered as well for their professional career. Now we have Rosalía. Rosa, since 2014, is the General Director for Women's Security in Spain. working on security in the cloud. She has a lot of experience in ICT. She has had different positions in businesses such as Santander, Ergon, and Rosario. She is member of the board of Arts Atlantic as well. In terms of training, she studied acute sciences at the University of Madrid. Apart from that, she has some time to belong to the group We Are Tech Women. So the same as our colleague, you have the floor and you can tell us a little bit about your projects. Good morning to everybody. So the initiative We Are Tech Women aims at incorporating women in the ICT sector of cybersecurity. In terms of cybersecurity, we were talking about a presence of around 12%, but if you go up, the percentages go down. So the agency Hillel Norton, with some innovators, organized a panel or a seminar close to the date when we celebrate the Day of the Working Woman, and wanted to give the visibility of some senior women, women holding some positions in the highest ranking, so that people understood and realized that there were some women holding high-ranking positions or senior positions. So this initiative has that aim. It is a small group. As I was saying, the focus is to make these women visible and also to incorporate women in these high-tech positions. We have some initiatives as well. We work with Accenture, with the company Accenture, because they organize several workshops. There is a newsletter every fortnight, and here we talk about different topics related to digital transformation, and always, trying to inform about the diversity view given by women. A different approach, and that is all, more or less. So we go there wherever we are invited. So if someone invites us, we go there to talk about women and the presence of women in high-tech positions. And what we want as well is that girls or teenagers, female teenagers, think about the professional careers they want to follow, and one of them may be high-tech. Why not? So, for example, in my case, I wanted to study some technical studies, but then later on I studied something else. That is why now I am leading this group of women. So you need to have several, of course, skills or competencies, but also contact is very important. Contact with other teams or with other people, so that you reach a higher position. It is very interesting to participate in those panels or roundtables that you organize. Of course, it is a great opportunity. So thank you for telling us about it. We're also going to talk about awareness raising in terms of the digital field. The basic awareness raising needs the trust of women, trust of men, children, adults. There is no age in terms of trust. I wanted to give you some data according to the OECD survey within the OECD countries. There are 97, correction by speakers, 93% of citizens use emails, but only 20% of them sell products, and only 47 of them, 47 of citizens use websites. In terms of gender, we have to be aware of the fact that the fear presence of women is also illustrated in the digital world. I'm going to give the floor now to the next participant, because I think that it would be very important to know about his experience in terms of the virtual world and how technology may help us have an enriching experience, a gratifying experience. I'm going to tell you a little bit about our next participant, or his professional career, spectacular as well. Sorry, sometimes we cannot hear very well the speakers, so it is very difficult to translate. We are doing our best. He has had different positions in multinational groups, international groups, in terms of ICT focused on business. He was also marketing director for sales in some other groups. He also did an MBA, a master. So whenever you want, you have the floor, Fabiano. Thank you very much for giving us this opportunity. I think this is a great opportunity to talk about a change player. I'm going to talk about risk a little bit more, if you allow me, which is linked to internet, because this is something that we, as a manufacturer, always focus on this. So our group only has 15% of employees that are females. In terms of change player, now the speaker is speaking half Italian, half Spanish, and the sound is not very good, sorry. So we need to include more people with other competencies. So in this term, we are carving out some awareness raising projects to have more people in this field of action. I think this is more a business view, because the company has identified a need. They need more employees and probably more women as well. To go back to internet, we all know that internet is growing exponentially. So it is clear that social networks are very important in our lives. Smartphones are also very important, and we also have information from an organization, for example, Save the Children, that they say that a kid starts to use the smartphone when they are 11 years of age. And this seems to be incredible, because if we launch an awareness raising campaign for women, we should also focus on children or internet for the family. This morning a lot has been said about digital violence, for example, exclusion, abuse,
Quello che io intenterò in questo momento è solo focalizzare quello che è il problema del riesgo di internet,
What I'm
más
trying
in
to
quello
do
che
is to
la parte
focus
más
on
tecnológica, che è un
the
riesgo
most
también che
technological
porta a
part
quello
of the
che è
risk of
il robo, per
internet.
esempio, dell'identità, quello che è, per esempio,
For example,
durante la
in
fase
terms
di
of
e-commerce, o quello che è, per esempio, la
the little capacity we have to understand right now that Internet is a great opportunity, but it can also be a risk or a threat. We all know that there is a legal framework being created, but talking about risks without going into technical details, of course, probably it is clear that we know many terms in Internet that is nothing but the capacity of attack to confuse a person through the social engineering. But what we have to get to know a bit better and raise awareness is in terms of social engineering, because the social engineering will gain a lot of relevance. Why? Because I can make a change in the profile of a person. I can even change the user's features, and I could use this type of profile or change, and I can also, well, carry out a kind of attack. Right now, after a lot of work we have all done, many organizations have been working on this topic, we have many tools available to try to stop these attacks. But we do not only have to protect the filtering or protect an application or protect some data or protect the profiles or the symbols. It is not only that. Right now, we see that what we need to do looking into the future is not only to stop an attack or malware inside an application, but also look into an anomalous behavior. This morning somebody talked about the social network and anomalous behavior in social media or social networks. Sometimes these behaviors are not behaviors of just one single person. It may be a simulation. It may be a fake, or someone stealing somebody's identity, and we have to take this as a human factor. However, if we talk about technology in private life, or for example in business life, let's say that this technology integrates everywhere. This technology will embed a new product, big data, a new service, etc., etc. And this kind of integration probably will need the capacity to provide a new understanding behavior, a new behavior that has to be understood as an attempt. It may be an anomalous behavior, it may be an error or fake behavior, or it can be regarded as an attack. And this behavior has to be regarded or taken into account from different viewpoints. I think the future lies in the way or the capacity of handling these new situations. If we go into private life, this is something we all have to try to monitor, to handle. We are manufacturers, have to do it. The business world also has to get involved. Everybody has to raise awareness among users. Why? Because it is necessary that the training also takes place at home, okay? Because people are using internet at home. As technology is very complicated, we need to do simulations, and we have to try to simplify terminology as well.
Thank you so much for enlightening us about the new generation of tools to protect users, focusing on behavior. It will probably help us a lot and promote a safer use of internet. If you agree, and going back to social inclusion, I'd like to give you a couple of data or indicators, rather. There is a large gender divide or gap, above all between 55 and 74 years of age. 54% of women accessing internet as opposed to 71% of men. And as for the use of digital skills, in the female world, there is a great difference between those women that have a little training or little education and those that have more training. 51% as opposed to 47% or 49%. According to the speaker, although we interpreters think that the data do not refer to reality. Anyway, what actions do you think should be implemented in terms of awareness raising so that that digital divide between those women that have less training and those that have more training is reduced in the years to come? Well, I think it is important that the media help us in this task, because in that range of age, I am thinking about my mother. She watches TV a lot. So whatever they watch on TV or they listen to the radio, it sticks to their minds. I know the city councils are making efforts to provide digital literacy classes for the elderly, and there are many participants. However, it is also true that sometimes the elderly think that those are things of the past and they are too old, and the media has to work so that they realize that they can also handle it and master it, and it is not so difficult, because then they will realize very soon that it is not so difficult to use Facebook. My father-in-law is 81 years of age, and he's very active on Facebook, and the kids or the granddaughters or grandsons really are amazed by the use he makes of Facebook. But even public administration could launch campaigns in this sense. For example, there is also a foundation, the Foundation Prosegur, that designs initiatives in terms of education for the young and for the not so young. We have an initiative. It is not so powerful as the one by INCIBE of cyber cooperants, but we do have cyber volunteers to go to different centers and support digital literacy. I don't know whether Fabiano or Rosa have been involved in any of these actions or initiatives. Yes, this initiative for sure is very interesting. It is something that we have to do to raise awareness, no? But awareness raising has to aim at cybersecurity, digital literacy, but also trying to integrate different competencies of cybersecurity. But internet is also a new opportunity that needs a further explanation. We need to explain what the opportunity is about. It is also an opportunity of a different working methodology. Internet as an opportunity It's an opportunity to organize in a different way our work, to be more productive. Sometimes we refer to digital agendas, and we're referring to a radical change, how to work in a different way to be more productive. So we have to explain that the technological tool may also lead to a change in habits. Or even a woman could start working in a different sector thanks to this new tool. We need to communicate things differently. Good morning to you all. Apologies because I think we are in the wrong place. We were in the wrong place and we got here late, so sorry for being late. Apologies, just a brief introduction if you do not know her. Lucía Cerón Hernández, she is director of the Institute for Women and for Equality of Opportunities. So she applies equality of reach and works in favor of equality of opportunities between men and women. Before, she has worked at different courts. She was also territorial director for justice and social welfare in Valencia community. 2012, she was autonomous secretary for family, also in the regional ministry for family and welfare and being in Valencia. She has a degree in law. She's done a bit of everything. But now she's here representing the Institute for Women and Equality of Opportunities. Yes, I am a hard-working person, as many other women, here and out there. It seems that we are scaling up. We have seen, and the Institute for Women has seen, that there was a digital divide. We work with girls, with female adults, and even with female elder that also may have a problem to adapt and get to know the new technologies. The gender divide exists with regard to new technologies, but it is true that the woman with high or mid education level does not have a problem or such a problem. Although it is true that some women with just primary education encounter many difficulties. Our institute launches many programs. We have two programs. One is entitled Sabia y Clara. They are all names of women. Sabia and Clara are two programs for adult women with a very low training level or education level. We work on social labor integration of these women so that they can join again the labor market. We organize workshops, and at these workshops we have highlighted the importance of new technologies, ICTs. So although the main aim of those programs is that these women adapt to the new society, technological society, we have a specific workshop for them to get to know and get to manage and use social media. And also in pro of the social welfare. Curiously enough, the man focuses more on travels, on economic aspects. So men uses the new technologies in a more technical way, let's say. I just wanted to underscore this fact. Yes, correct me if I am wrong, but for example, where we can also see the inequality in the household, the woman uses more intensively networks looking for aspects in terms of family care, health, yes, welfare, to enjoy the environment. The woman does not think further from the household. That is a problem. There is also a difficulty because still there is a bit of fear. People are afraid, or women are afraid of using it. networks, social networks, and to make a good use of it all. Because there is a concern, or at least in what we have seen, is that the woman is concerned about the potential mobbing, harassment, digital harassment. So that requires a responsibility by the user when applying ICTs. And a woman that goes into networks, if she identifies or detects some kind of mobbing or harassment, she has to denounce it and file a complaint. So if you want to use technologies and you want to be trained and educated, we have to try to reduce to the minimum level all kind of digital violence. And in this regard, we need the collaboration of administrations, but also at the centers, education centers, the media as well, has to help us in this regard. And all the society, each of us has to be able to say no to digital violence, okay? We are women, we are here, and we will continue being here. Self-esteem, yeah, that also has to be promoted. I don't know whether you want to add something to that. Well, I think everything has been said, really, but just in the line of what Lucía mentioned, related to initiatives, we have to think big, but act small, okay? So we have access to other people or who may not know the benefits of technology, and they stay far away from technology because they are concerned of the potential threats, about the potential threats. So we have to explain to them the good things resulting from the use of technologies, you know, for our professional life and personal life as well. So we have to remove that fear so that all these women identify those tools that may get you closer to your beloved ones, because through Skype you can talk to people who live in other countries, for example, other relatives living abroad, etc., etc. And I think if we all act in this regard, we will get very far. Yeah, we need a change of mindset. We have to say out loud, new technologies, new applications, and anything you can find online. This digital era is a tool to make our life easier, better, to be more productive from an industrial viewpoint or professional viewpoint. When we interiorize all these aspects, things will change radically. We have to tell them, and they need to understand that it is a tool for life. We have to adapt ourselves, yes or yes. There is no way backwards. The problem is that the profile of women, I've just been working for this institute for 4 months, is so different from each other. It's different to work with girls than with teenagers, different from working with female university students. Women do not want to be princesses anymore. We want to reach the moon. We want to get to the moon. We want to be programmers. So we have to change everything. And then the profile of women who have died and have given their lives. Do you know what a housewife is? Is everything. A housewife is everything. She can think, she can visualize, and we also have to get to those housewives and tell them the social media will make life easier and will open up a new windows. Yeah, a change of mindset is what we need. That people see internet as a tool to make headway, to make life easier. I don't know, but maybe, Lucía, you want to add something with regard to the programs you are implementing before we move on to the debate? Well, I have a PowerPoint. Maybe I can show it, because through slides maybe we can see it better.
Pues, porque así, un poco, bueno, lo que sí que he comentado, aparte de dar las gracias.
Apart from thanking very much the the committing organizers for having organized this international forum. The conclusions will be very useful because we have to work all jointly. We are looking forward to those conclusions. Sometimes people say Institute for Women and for Equality. It's only work, because there is a lot to do. We have done a lot. We have advanced in these last 40 years. But my mom, for example, was the Miss of. It was not Lucía, with her own surname. And to open a bank account, you needed your husband's authorization. 40 years after, we're talking about social media. We have to highly value how far we have gone, everything we have accomplished, but of course there is a lot to do yet. Yes. And now that we are aware of that digital divide, at the fast pace everything moves on, either we include or implement actions straight away, or things will go from bad to worse. Yes, it seems that if we get stuck, then we are losing terrain. We have to get moving and fast. There is a nice video in Europe that says a woman on high heel shoes, spectacular and pretty in the inside and outside. She is climbing up the stairs to promote within her company, and the man in a suit continues climbing up. And however, at the middle of the staircase with a high heel shoe, she tries to go up and she cannot do it. So there is a ceiling, a cement ceiling that somehow is blocking the woman. Wherever there is a woman, the others will follow suit. We need a reference woman. Very briefly, you say that technology is not neutral. It may be considered as a technical tool at the service of society, but not influenced by society. Technology is not neutral, as we know, because it very much depends on culture, and women traditionally have been excluded in terms of visibility from the fields of design, science, and use of technology. Women and men of the same social context may not have equal access to ICTs. Second slide, digital society is a weapon for social change. It is a new environment where economic activity deploys and also social relationships take place, and has transformed production, employment, work, labor market, health, political life, and even social life. And it has become one of the main drivers of the social change, where new social fabrics are made, and it favors learning, exchanges, participation, and resources, access to new visibility resources. Third slide, referring to unequal relationships between men and women. These changes resulting from the ICTs and the benefits for men and women are mediated by unequal relationships between men and women, because they are unequal. In such a society in the 21st century, gender conditioning factors, just because you're a woman. And all these results from the set of norms and values represented by sex, by gender, and therefore there are asymmetric relationships between men and women. Gender social mandates condition relationships between genders, but also the construction of identity with one another, like how to feel, how to be, how to be present, men and women. That is very important. Fourth slide, gender socialization. I joined at the very end, but we all use the same terms. We all have the same concerns. We know where to get at, but we have to unify and join efforts. Well, gender socialization, we may have different interests, different from those of men, so we need to acknowledge the differences to adapt action and pay attention to the female interests. We have to highlight the lowest percentage of female presence and higher education, for example, or sciences. Women get very little to technical, for example, studies. And that is one of the things we are doing. We are trying to strengthen women, to empower, first of all, girls, and tell them that they can get closer to technology. They do not necessarily have to go for social studies. If they want, that's fine. But they can also go for technological studies. When they get to the university, women get better qualifications and more women than men are present at universities. And then there is a kind of a gap. Usually the woman gets married, may have kids, and because of an excess of responsibility, in this regard, we should refer to co-responsibility. There is a labor gap, and then it's very difficult for her to join the labor market again. As for expectations and academic and professional aspirations are very much influenced by gender mandates. We also have to work on that. Fifth slide. Women are different from each other. Okay, so of course we are all women, but as a populational group, we are not just one single group. We have different ways of relating to technology. The variable sex also interacts with gender variables, also age, economic level, income, racial origin, ethnic origin. We are all different from each other, so we have to take into account the whole diversity for us to reach our objective. Diversity factors condition the reality of populational groups, and therefore we have to take these differences into account when planning objectives and actions. Gender digital divides. So we already said that women have a greater vulnerability in relation with these risks. They may have more difficulty to access employment, information, communication tools, and in social media, we still, or again, have stereotypes and again new forms of attacking women. Not very often do we see on social media men attacking men. Usually it is the woman, the one that suffers. And that's why she doesn't want to assume the risk and going online. I was talking about the responsibility of the internet user. Any person who uses social media is using a weapon, and the weapon may destroy a woman if you use it for that end. Also, violence against women on social media results in inequality and an attack and violence. Challenges, and I will finish in a minute. We need to make women visible in those less often roles, less traditional roles, to break with the masculinization of the ICT sector. Man is doing very well in technological worlds, in science world, etc. In the 4 months I have been working for this institute, every night I go to bed thinking I've learned something new today. And that's great, because that means that there is a lot to do. At Microsoft, they organized a course for the 15, 16-year-old female teenagers. And it was great because it was to train them on new technologies. And young women came along to give the course. Yes, I'm going to stop. I will tell you about this later on. The girls, when attending this course, they wanted to follow their example. Slide 7. Again, it is necessary to make women visible in certain roles. Conclusions. Just mentioned that we want an inclusive digital society. The Institute for Women and for Equality of Opportunities, all of you, all Spain, have our doors open to improve. My team is a great team as well, but we cannot identify all the problems. But if you see the problems, because we are not capable of identifying all the problems, you have to get in contact with us, and we will be more than pleased to help you out. To continue very fast, because we are half an hour delayed with regard to schedule, if you allow me, I'm going to use a sentence you mentioned during your talk. Give visibility to women offering diverse reference roles and not by reproducing certain roles. In the line of this, I'd like to ask a question also related to the previous panel on promoting presence of women in the business fabric, in the labor market. We have seen that in management positions, the profiles of women are very varied. There are engineers, psychologists, lawyers, there is a bit of everything. However, the profile of men is much more technical. What do you think are the main factors for women not to take those management positions or leadership positions? Because maybe we are neglecting many other aspects, no? Well, I'll go for it.
So something that you mentioned in your presentation is perception. It looks like women, and we see it every day in the media, in the companies, in the families. In Spain, in the last statistical data by the National Statistics Institute, most of the time women do more household work, more work at home than men. So the same goes for the companies, or I mean the same situation, the same stereotypes can be seen in the companies, within the business areas, within the business world. It doesn't help the women get empowered, because we have to really work with them in that, with everyone. We have to be all change agents, because we are wasting an opportunity, we are losing the opportunity of having a fairer society, having more balance between men and women, because also men have rights, have the right to spend time with their children and to have free time. Both men and women, we all have the same rights. So men and women must be free to get where they want to. So that's an internal, something that we have to do within ourselves. We have to do. I am willing to make sacrifices to reach what I want to reach, because now the way the society is organized, we know that the senior positions have to sacrifice time or has to sacrifice something. But if we all want to live a balanced life, you have to know what you're willing to sacrifice if you want to reach a senior position within a company. So it's a perception issue, a communication issue, something we have to do within ourselves. So you have to be quick. So I'm sorry we cannot interpret because there's no sound. Lucía said it. Women have to or get the best marks in our studies, and we choose the studies or the career path that we want to pursue, and we choose medicine or social studies because it's something that we have embedded in our souls. If we talk about cybersecurity, you have to know that you are protecting the digital life of businesses and families and people. And when I came here to stay. I love what I do, and I do the best I can. So this perception and communication perspectives have to change. I'm going to explain my case. We are focused to our work. In our work, we work hard and we are responsible for what we do. We take responsibility for our actions, and we have to do a lot of networking and insisting in saying, this is my job, this is what I do, this is what I want to do, and I had to raise my hand because when there was not enough headhunting and many headhunting companies or programs for the incorporation of women into the senior position, I was there. So we also have some responsibility in breaking that glass ceiling. So now we'll have mentors and many people who will help us, but it's up to us to make the first step. I think it's important. Fabiano, now I'll leave you. I'll give the floor to you. So since I myself am a senior position, I think honestly equality is great and teamwork are necessary. For me, this is a real possibility, and these 2 days have been great because I've seen the opportunity to make or to give it a thought, because women will be responsible for change and also for the change of men. I think this industry is not so attractive for women because there is no communication. If we look at the Imperva statistics, there are 50 leading women in the field of cybersecurity, but I don't know any of them. No, neither do I. So maybe I will have to have a look at the profiles of these women. So this is a limitation, but it's also a communication limitation. It can be a change of perception. So we need networking, mentoring. We need to create heroes. We need to give it more visibility. And women can bring about the change, I'm sure of that. I think we need a diverse team. It's the most important thing. I'd like to say something about it, but I don't want to monopolize the conversation. So it's I represent in the government of Spain here and the Institute for Women now, but I have to say that women have difficulties in getting access to senior positions. We've tried for many years to try and break that obstacle. Few years ago, my institute created a series of programs to try and break the glass ceiling, because we know that in Europe, in the United Nations, that the businesses that have parity or equality in their senior positions, gender equality in their senior positions, or a ratio between 40 and 60 or 50-50 are more sustainable and more successful because women contribute with a lot. We contribute with problem-solving solution that men lack. But companies have a problem and they keep on hiring men. Also because there is a problem with the work-life balance. And that's the starting point. Men have to take part in the home chores, in the household chores. So for 3 years we've been working on creating the Promociona program, networking programs. And for example, women can create their own companies. It's created by all the Spanish population. So we've come up to 17%, coming from a 13% in only a few years. So there's something we have to do about it. From 13 to 17% in terms of women in senior positions. So you need accelerators. So it's thanks to the accelerators that we can be juster, because we need to be fast. So by way of a conclusion, I will say I will repeat some of the utterances you've emitted. I think there are many initiatives that we have to follow up, we have to know about them. They respond to our curiosity, our concerns, and they can help us every day to be more informed and to try and make some programs in our career path. I've taken good note of all these initiatives. I would just say 4 words: importance of diversity in the teams, the accelerators, the perception, the communication. So those 4 things. We don't have time for questions. Thank you.